Well, shoot. I'm not even mad about the Dolphins losing today 20-13 to the Houston Texans deep in the heart of Texas. I'm just disappointed. We've gotten every opportunity to change our identity, to change the narrative, and to be a different team, to break good instead of break bad. And our problem isn't that we can't hang with these teams. Our problem is when the going gets tough, we don't make the plays. Today was the perfect example of that. The defense, fantastic. Made CJ Stroud look like a junior high quarterback most of the day, although he did extend some plays here and there. The offense today, not so great. Interceptions, we'll get to that in a minute, bad. Texans didn't even really make that many plays, although CJ Stroud did extend some plays and they had that fake punt and, of course, the interceptions. But when the Dolphins had chances to make plays, to carpe diem, to seize the moment, poof. Like I said, the defense absolutely fantastic. You're even indoors, climate control, negating any type of weather advantage. And you just can't make the plays. And this is not just today. This has been recurring over and over again. When we play against playoff caliber teams at their place, we don't make the plays. We can hang. Hi, I'm Dan Day, by the way. Robert Grieper with me. We can hang. Remember all the instances just off the top of my head. A couple of years back in Buffalo, around Christmas time, we go up there in the snow. Whole game, we're right there. They beat us at the end. Coming back just to this year, Buffalo again, 61-yard field goal. Make the plays. The Cardinals earlier this year, make the plays. Last week against the Jets, not a playoff caliber team. We make the plays because it's not a playoff team and we're at home. Today, every opportunity to go out there and win that game, control your destiny, control this game, change the narrative. What do? You get the ball with 4:20 left. Pardon, 4:20, I know. 4:20 left in the game. And I said, you know what? What a playoff team does right here on the road, they drive down the 4:20 and they tie the game. Also missing the extra, by the way, also not making plays. No excuse that 2 weeks in a row we have now had from Jason Sanders missed extra points. So you have 4:20, you can't do anything. Once again, not making plays. So you kick it back to the Texans. They have it with 2:50 left. I'm not going to say they mismanaged the clock, although they could have called a timeout, Mike McDaniel, with 2:01 instead of waiting for the 2-minute warning. Not once again, if you get the ball back, 1:44 left on the road, you have the ball, you have control, 1:44, that's all you can ask for. So I really can't be mad about that. What happens on the very first play? Interception, and the rest is history. Now a lot of questions surround this team. Technically, the season is not over. We are not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yet, although it's going to be very hard. Also, there's still 3 games in the season, but there's a lot of questions. Number one, why are we not making the plays? Also, what's this team going to look like? Jalen Waddle got hurt today, did not return to the game. If there's not that much of a chance to go to the playoffs, do you put him back in? Do you rush him back in? Teron Armstead, big question. Does he ever play another snap in the NFL? Lots and lots and lots of questions. 305-567-0560. I want to hear from you, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's hopeful, whether it's sad. Once again, I'm not angry. I'm just sad. Just sad. Robert Grieper, I don't know. Do you feel as though as a Dolphins fan or just Dolphins Nation should be upset right now? Because a lot of times we'll come on and we'll be very upset. This year was the year we were supposed to, all the meetings were at the 24s of every hour because we wanted to end the 24 years of not winning a playoff game. This was the year Buffalo, week 2, would come in here. We were going to show on national TV that we've changed and that we are the dominant team in the AFC East. This was the year that everything was going to come together. We were going to have this run game. We were going to have this control the ball game. We had Cheetah, we had Waddle, we had Tua. We were going to win big games. We were going to go into cold weather on Thanksgiving into Green Bay, and we were going to show Green Bay and the world, cold weather, no cold weather, on the road, good team, bad team, we control the narrative. Well, if you don't make the plays, you don't control the narrative. Robert Grieper, is it okay that I'm a little bit just saddened right now? I'm just saddened. I'm not angry.
I kind of look at it this way. After 24 years, apathy has set in, is the way I look at it with the Dolphin fan, is that you're used to it. You are looking for it to actually happen, for something to go wrong, and it does. It's kind of like you will your way into something bad happening, and that's exactly what's happened. If you look at that last interception, Tyreek had the ball in his hands.
Once again, not making plays.
And that's the thing, is that, Jim Mandich used to say it every single time on the broadcast, is that the game itself is tough enough as it is. It's even tougher when you're dumb and stupid. When you make mistakes like Eichenberg taking holding calls, when you have 3 picks, I mean, come on.
Let's talk about those picks for a second. Should have been 4. The first one, Tua threw it to the other team. They dropped
Although, to be honest, the last pick, I don't blame Tua on that last one.
The other 2 were thrown to the other team.
Correct.
Mike McDaniel made some comment about somebody not being in the right spot. I don't know. Tua really threw it to a guy right in the middle of the field, and it was on the 10-yard line. 2 of the interceptions were on the 10-yard line. We were about to score. The last one, Tyreek, the best receiver in the game, the man that was voted number 1 by his peers, not only the best receiver, the best player in the league, has it in 2 hands. And I understand that the defender did have a little more momentum, but that's, once again, not making plays. It was in both of his hands, and it was taken away from him.
Exactly. I mean, does Tyreek even make top 100 next year? I don't even know. But the way I look at this team, number 1, running game, where has it gone? It is off the face of the earth right now.
If you liked offense, today's game wasn't good for you, because both teams had
it was
offense.
sloppy as hell.
No team had offense. Good defense on both sides. We just don't make plays. That's what's frustrating. If you're bad, what you say is, let's rebuild this thing. If you're good, but you're not winning any important games because you're not making plays, what do you do? There's no formula for that.
You're basically stuck in no man's land right now, in the sense of, if you're really bad, you're going to get a high draft pick and you'll be able to get, something to revamp the future with. You have salary cap money. The problem is that the Dolphins are in the situation where their salary cap is screwed now for years to come. Number 2 is that you're not getting high draft picks. And even if you do you have faith in this front office to even get you the players that you need to fill up this roster? And that's the problem that you're looking at right now with this team. Is it the coach's fault? Yes. Is it the player's fault?
Yes.
Is it the front office's fault? Yes. So the problem is that, Stephen Ross and the rest of his organization has to figure out, number 1, are you bringing Chris Greer back? Are you bringing McDaniel back? The rest of the players that you're long-term in with, you're stuck with them, because I don't know who's going to take those contracts right now.
Yeah, the business side of it is a mess too, but I'll be honest with you, the way I feel about today's loss, it's not on the coaches, it's on the players. We're a few plays away this season alone from being a playoff team.
Although, one thing I still have a problem with McDaniel with every single time is his management out there of the clock, and when he takes timeouts, I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, when he used that first timeout earlier in the fourth quarter, I'm like, are you kidding me? I think it was on a 4th down, if I remember correctly, where he used that first timeout. And how are you not prepared at that point to go forward? You need those timeouts at the end of the game. You don't need to use them at that time of the game. And that's, unfortunately, to me, that's lack of preparedness. And that's what's happening out there. I don't know.
That's an extension onto the field with the players.
Yeah.
305-567-0560. Let's hear from you. 560 WQAM. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Doug. I'm in Hollywood.
Go ahead, Doug. What's going on?
Man, when I look at the Dolphins, the play calling is the main thing. I think with a team like this, with the offense like this, I'm expecting you to get 4 or 5 yards on first down, not 1 or 2 yards. Then that you put the quarterback in a better position, because now he don't have to worry about 2nd and 10. Then he forced the ball. That one, when he forced the ball, I think merely it came from that, because you got him in a 2nd and 10. Then it's a different. You can call a different play. The playbook is more open when you got a 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4. But a 2nd and 10, you don't have a lot of options, because the defense got the upper hand when you got the long down and distance.
Absolutely.
And Mike McDaniel is not calling those kind of plays he called last year. Last year was better play calling. He just went down the ladder. So you got 3 people I think the Dolphins need to get rid of. I'm serious. They need to part ways with Greer. Mike McDaniels and Tua, because we need a mobile. I think we need like a mobile style quarterback, and we need someone who's not really scared. And I think he's kind of still scared of the concussions. I think he's still playing scared football.
Well,
right
I don't
now.
know. He took a head dive trying to get a first down earlier in the game, which was pointless. He didn't seem too scared there. He wasn't smart, but it seems silly. But
he lost the weight. He lost the weight so he can have more mobility, but he's not really using that.
Doug, I want to ask you this, man. I know that teams are trying to take away the deep ball, but Mike McDaniel has to be smart enough to scheme out at least one or two deep shots every once in a while. It seems like we never go deep anymore. It seems like we rarely go mid-range anymore. It's just checkdowns and little in and out plays. It drives me crazy.
Because the defense are playing for the long ball now.
But you can't scheme up one or two plays?
Well, that's what they gearing up for the long ball now, because they think that's all the Dolphins can do. But I mean, it's good. They grounded out. They had a grounded out thing 1 week where they grounded out a lot of plays, and everybody say, well, they're gonna take away the deep balls, and we can ground it out and take a lot of play time off the clock. We can play like this, which I don't have no gripe against that. Then sooner or later they're gonna come up, and then you're gonna be able to sneak that deep ball in. But as for now, you got to play what take what they're giving you right now. And so, I think we got to go mobile. We got to go mobile next year, and we got to go offensive linemen in the draft. Whatever we can get in the draft, we got to get offensive linemen, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of the play call and a lot of the plays today were because we had guys from the offensive line that just came off the streets, man. We were talking about no-name guys that were getting blown up.
We got to go offensive line next year, and forget about getting these speedy guys next year. Every year, y'all want to get these speedy guys, and you don't really do nothing with them. Just like number 25.
Speak about the speedy guy. We got Jalen Wright. Did you see him at all today?
I think he ran one play all day. One play, but that's what I'm saying. They get the speedy guys every year, and it don't really help them because you really need an offensive line. That's what you need right now.
I agree with you, Doug, man. Hang in there, man. Much love for that. 305-567-0560 is the number to call. Let's go back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bob from Bal Harbor.
Go ahead, man. What you got?
Well, there's some of the stuff that I'm going to say being said, but it showed again that Tua cannot win against good teams. He had 4 turnovers. There is no excuse. I don't care the offensive line, you're thrown in the location, whatever. You better be better protective on this level. When you're expecting lose, you go home, you're a protective of that ball, and you make sure you take your sack before you throw the away ball. The defense, as far as I'm concerned, they played great today. Considering that they gave up 10 points of that they got was over turnovers. The defense, for me, played phenomenal. They did great. But we have coaching, and I think the coaching job, he's a good offensive coordinator, but he's no head coach material.
Well, we don't know if he's a good offensive coordinator. He's never held that position. Remember in San Francisco, he was the run game coordinator.
And to get to the point, you have so much speed on this team. Yes, you have Waddle. Yes, you have things. Why? I mean, I'm not a genius, but if I am, why there is no deep ball? Not to Hill or Waddle. Let's use them as decoy. Use Wright and Achane at speed. Throw one time deep so the defense respect the ball. We don't throw deep anymore.
No, we don't.
So they don't respect us. They have no fear.
We barely throw it mid-range
anymore.
Bob, we barely throw it mid-range anymore. It's all checkdowns.
It's all 5-yard, 10-yard quick release. Again, why? We have no offensive linemen? Because Greer is the people who put them together. These are the guys who put this team together. And you can't complain about the players without complaining about the general manager.
Now remember,
they chose this player.
Greer laughed in Omar Kelly and a lot of the media's face earlier this year when asked,
yes,
what about the offensive line? That's y'all that worry about it.
You guys are more worried about it than we are.
Well maybe we should be.
They have absolutely... he's been disastrous in picking up. The only good offensive line we got lucky was Tunsil that we gave away.
Yeah.
But Jackson is hurt. Armstead is gone. This year, you pick for future. You're building a Super Bowl team in your mind, and you go for Paul instead of somebody else?
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you have an offensive line. I thought Patrick Paul held his own a little bit today, though. I will give him credit. I thought the
It
offensive
is true,
I thought the
but we
offensive line
could
was
have
better than
used somebody who could come and help them protect this line. Look at all the good teams. Look at Buffalo.
Look at
Look at
Detroit.
Philadelphia. Their offensive line is intact. The same group of guys are playing constantly.
I agree, Bob. Another thing to your point.
We can't say that about the Dolphins. And if you don't have an offensive line, you have no protection, you're going to get hit, you're going to things, and you don't have time to throw the ball. But to me, there's got to be a way, if you're such a genius, figure out the way to throw the ball deep. Figure out the ball to your best players. H-Chan, Hill, get them the ball. Reverses, whatever.
You're preaching
Did you
to the
see
choir.
any reverses
You're
today?
preaching to the
When
choir,
you have
Bob.
you have over-pursuing defense with so much speed, not one reverse, not one screen.
You never took advantage of your speed once today, it seemed like.
They haven't the past 3 or 4 weeks. Yes, we beat the lousy Jets. We should have beat them by so many. We barely beat them. And guess what? Tua is not the quarterback. Draft one. Cam Ward, I'm waiting for you.
Cam Ward, the shouts are out there. Bob does bring up a very good point. And I mean, I'm not trying to pile on. Tua can't beat good teams, and Tua can't win in the cold. Look at it just this year alone. Jaguars, you defeated them 2017. Jaguars are garbage. Bills got skull drugged by them before he left the game. He wasn't in for those few games right there. Then he comes back against, I want to say, where did he come back? He came back against the Bills, right? Yes. They lost 30-27. That's a good team. The Rams, at the time, the Rams had a losing record. We did defeat them, so kudos on that. Beats the Raiders, not a good team. Beats the Patriots, not a good team. Goes into the Packers, playoff team, can't beat them. Barely beats the Jets. Now the Texans, another playoff team, can't beat them. And oh yeah, by the way, you're 0-8 in weather 40 degrees or lower. Those are numbers. I'm not going against Tua. I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the numbers. It's frustrating. And the thing is, I don't think that the Texans team was that much better than us. I just think they made more plays than we did. That's what frustrates me.
I don't even know if they made more plays than we did. I think that they made less bad plays than we did is really what it was.
I can really only think of one play that we made today on 4th down, Jonnu Smith. It's an unbelievable throw and catch. Let's give credit right there. That was the only play we really made today, right? I mean, there's some defensive Chop Robinson with the sack towards the end and stuff like that. But when it came down to crunch time, we didn't make very many plays.
Also, I don't understand why Tua has this thing for throwing across his body across the field, which makes no sense to me why you're going to do that when the better play is to make the throw, correctly, closer to you than to make it all the way across the field when you don't have the arm to do it across the field to do that. And it causes turnovers, unfortunately. And the mistake prone offense that we have right now, as you saw today, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. It was bad, but it could have been 5 turnovers up there.
And with that being said, we should have been up 6-3 at halftime. We weren't.
Well, that too. I mean,
13-6, but yeah.
I mean, they should have been up. You had turnovers on your side as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is that as you saw McDaniel start the game off, he was trying to get that running game going, and that never happened. And unfortunately, I think that's been the downfall of this season is, remember earlier in the season, that running game was clicking. Once you had those injuries to Ingold and to Armstead, it went downhill pretty quick. And then it went down even further, when Jackson went down as well. So you lost those 3 big pieces, and they never recovered that running game from that point forward.
There was a few games in there between the Patriots and even the Colts. And what was the other one that we barely won? Another one where we were like, wait, we might just be a running team. And now, oh my goodness, 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Don from Miami.
Break it down, Don.
Listen, this problem has been here for 4 years since they drafted Tua, an undersized, injured quarterback. He is not an NFL quarterback, and whenever we play a team that has half a team, it shows. Okay, that's the first problem. So until they're willing to move on from Tua, we're going to have to live with this CRAP. Sorry to hate to say that, because Greer's an idiot when it comes to talent. We've seen that over and over. You let some of the best guys go in trades, and then you go after a shiny object that's always hurt on the field. It doesn't make any sense. You let one of the best defensive linemen go in the league, Wilkins. You don't even offer Van Ginkel any money. So the front office is ill.
Oh,
I can't handle it anymore.
Don't forget, it wasn't a lot of money, but they went after Odell Beckham Jr., who's no longer on the team this year.
Yeah, for what? For what? We didn't have enough receivers already? You know, and Tua can't throw it more than 25 yards. Every time he does, it's underthrown. The only reason those passes were ever completed in the past is because Tyreek Hill would be so wide open he could stand there and wait for the ball to get to him. Think about it. How many passes did he ever hit in stride over 25 yards? Hardly any.
Yeah,
and now if you look at the offense, every pass is 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
I did write down in my notes that, man, we do a lot of dinking and dunking and short passes. And I know, like I've been saying all this all day, and tell me if I'm wrong. Yes, they are trying to take away the long ball, but you have to find a way to scheme. You have to find a way to scheme up every once in a while a deep ball just to loosen things up, because all the defenses are doing now, taking away the long ball and just waiting for us, pinning their ears back on a dink and dunk pass 5 yards or 3 yards behind the offensive line. It's very predictable. You think Texas didn't know exactly what we were going to do today? I mean, I'm sorry.
Houston looked at the Jets film.
Did Houston? It seemed like they were comfortable with everything we did. Was there ever a time you thought that the Texans looked a little uncomfortable on defense? No.
Not at all. Houston looked at the Jets film. We went up and down the field on the Jets, right? And it was the same thing every series, though. A few 10-yard ends, from both sides, a little dink and dunk the whole way. Houston looked at the film. They had a safety stand right there in the middle. That's how he got almost 2 interceptions at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he was waiting for the ball. He knows where Tua's timing is at. Tua didn't see those guys in those dark blue shirts a couple times because he's throwing a timing pass.
Donald, I don't know if you saw at halftime, I do not believe Mike McDaniel when he said people need to be in the right spot at the right time. Tua just did not see that guy standing right there. It's not someone that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's be honest.
If the guy's not in the right spot, you got to throw it somewhere else. Duh.
I mean, there's no way that someone was supposed to be in front of that guy. No, Tua threw it to a space that was occupied by a Texans defender.
Yep. And this thing I hear when all these people talk about the offensive line not being good, Tua only got sacked how many times today?
Well, he did have that. He had that fumble where he got hit from the back. But yeah, I thought the offensive line for a bunch of guys that we got off the street, I thought that they did a very good job. They did an outstanding job.
He had time to throw the ball where he wanted to throw it today. It's just where he wanted to throw it wasn't a very good throw.
Once again, the first 25 plays for every NFL team are scripted. Why are we not scripting more plays to Tyreek Hill? Or is it that they're taking away from? I don't know, but find a way to get him the guy. I'm sorry. Get him the goodness ball.
Dan,
go ahead, please.
My last point. Listen. Everybody's going to come up with an excuse for this week.
I'm not.
But what I'm really going to hate, not you, is by the end of the week, they're all going to be selling tickets again, and I can't stand it.
I understand.
I'm not going to any more of these games. It's just making me sick.
I'm frustrated, just like you, Donald. Thank you so much. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. I'm saddened because this is the thing. Like you've said, if you have a bad team, hey, we're just not good enough. This team is, to me, good enough. We're just not making plays, and I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is if you're good enough, but you're not making the plays.
Well, one thing I am happy about is at least the fans are showing their anger right now.
They should.
I'm happy about that because the one thing you never want to have is indifference. If the fans are like, well, we expected it to happen and all that, that's where the problem comes in. If you get into a franchise where the fan base doesn't care if you win or lose at that point, that's not a good place to be. There are plenty of other franchises in this league where the fans just sit there and they're like, hey, it is what it is. And I'm afraid that eventually that this franchise will get there after 25 years now without a playoff. I mean, this is, yeah.
For all those people nationally and wherever else that say there aren't real sports fans here in South Florida, this show is evidence that there are real sports fans in Florida, and they are really fed up, and they should be really fed up, because if you have a team that hasn't won in the playoffs in 24 years, that is frustrating. That is upset. Nonetheless, great fans. And we want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. We're going to take a quick break, take more of your calls, and just kind of try to figure this whole thing out for the Miami Dolphins as they lose today. Once again, for everyone that says another chance to change the narrative, it was also another chance to prove the narrative, going against the playoff team in their place, climate controlled even, and lose 20-12.